What's happening? Thank y'all for joining another episode of Let's Talk Sports with Richard Cole. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and finish this NFC East tonight. It didn't go quite like I wanted to. I wanted to bring some guests on. I wanted to talk about the NFC East, but it's not going that way, so I got to move on. So I got to get through the NFC East today. That's why you see me jumping right in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from bottom to top. And I want all the fans to understand when you're listening to me, it does not mean I dislike your team. It just means that I'm giving you my opinion on what I think is going to happen, which in most cases, well, I shouldn't say most cases, in some cases are right. And I'm going to start with the Washington Commanders. Why am I starting with the Commanders? Let me say this up front. I do not believe the Commanders are a bad team at all. I've seen the Commanders go into Lincoln Field and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I've seen the Commanders just dismantle the Cowboys with Sam Howell at quarterback. The Washington Commanders, not to mention they went and got Eric Bieniemy. They got some offensive. I got an offensive mind there. The Washington Commanders are rebuilding. I like what they did in the draft. The third round wide receiver they picked. I like that. I think what they're building is just like a high octane ball control type of team. Strong defense, ball control, game manager at quarterback. I think that's what they're trying to build. And if that's what they're trying to build, that's fine. I don't think it'll win them a Super Bowl, but it could possibly get them in the playoffs. And hopefully I'm wrong, because I want to see them open it up and just to keep up with some of the other teams in their division. Because if you think you're going to smash mouth everybody, it's just not going to happen. But I still believe the Commanders will be someone you have to pay attention to. I may be even wrong, and they may shock everybody, but I believe you have to pay attention to Commanders. I'm not just completely saying, oh, they're a horrible team. No, I just believe that they're the worst team in this division right now. But as time goes on, that may change. Let's move on to the New York Giants. New York fans, you know I got nothing but love for you. How can I dislike the mecca of all sports? New York City, New York Giants, New York Yankees. I mean, I forgot who your hockey team was. All types of sports in New York is going to bring a big crowd. So I would never dislike the New York Giants. But I will say this. Daniel Jones is an in-betweener. Y'all know what that means? An in-betweener? That means that he's trying to figure out if he's good or if he's just going to go ahead and concede to him being bad. Because he's showed both. He showed superstar talent at some time, and then he'll show horrible, just be a horrible player sometimes. So it's just, he's an in-betweener. I want to see him just take charge, because Brian Daboll is a good coach and a good offensive mind. I believe the New York Giants can start scoring some points at a high level with Brian Daboll as the coach. But I don't know if Daniel Jones is ready. Saquon Barkley, I mean, you got to sign him, because if you don't sign him, what are you going to do? What's the alternative? You're going to trade him? I mean, I don't know what you're going to do, so you must sign Saquon Barkley. He brings another threat. And right now, you just do not have a lot of threats in New York. So if you don't have a lot of threats and you're going to give up a threat, you better be getting some threats back, because you got to have some playmakers. You can't just grind and fight in every single game. You got to start beating some people up, is what I'm saying. That's why I got you next to last in the division. I mean, it's not because I believe you're a bad team, because you made the playoffs last year, went in Minnesota and beat Minnesota. But you failed both times against the Cowboys. And if I'm not mistaken, you failed both times against the Eagles, and you have to be able to get a split just to say you're a part of that division, because that division is that tough. But who knows? The New York Giants may find their rhythm. I mean, they may get them some playmakers, because they definitely let some playmakers go in Kadarius Toney. And I understand, I don't want to get off and tell why y'all let him go and this and that. I get whatever it was. You got to start bringing more talent on like that and get them to gel into the team, because you need that type of playmaking talent to compete. Like I said, you're not going to be able to just fight in every single game. Some of those games you're going to have to just beat them up. and I just don't see that yet. But I can't sit here and tell you that I don't think the New York Giants is going to make the playoffs, because I do. But I just don't know if it'll be any further than the second round. But Brian Daboll, I got a lot of respect for him. I really cheer for him, because I think he was part of, if not the reason, the Buffalo Bills were so good. I do believe that, and you can start to see it in Buffalo right now. It's just falling apart. So I believe that the Giants are gonna do some damage with Brian Daboll. So that's just how I feel. But I still got you third in the division, for the simple reason that you just can't seem to get past the Cowboys. You can't seem to get past the Eagles. I need you to split with them. And to be quite honest with you, you need to beat the Commanders twice. That's the only way you're going to be able to win this division. So I'm just saying, Giants fans, don't beat me up. Mecca, New York, always cheering for you guys. And I hate I had to put you third, but that's just how I see it. Let's move on to the meat of the division. Let's talk about who everybody want to talk about, whether that's good or bad, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell y'all something, and I hope y'all hear me when I say this. The Dallas Cowboys, if they wasn't in the NFC East, probably wouldn't be considered a great team. Now, that's not a knock on the NFC East, even though some of you may see it that way. I'm just saying that they give Dallas so much hype. And the truth of the matter is the Commanders and the Giants are not that far away from the Cowboys. It just seems like they are, but they're really not. They're a couple of playmakers away from being just as good as the Dallas Cowboys. But I had to put Dallas second for the simple reason was because the Dallas Cowboys seem to own their division so far. I mean, the Commanders split with them last year. They beat the Giants twice. They split with the Eagles. I mean, that's how you win a division, whether you like them or not. That's how you win a division. Now, could it slip and go the opposite way this year? Absolutely. But it also can get better. So, but they go up, they lose in the divisional round. They were pretty good all year long. A little overrated too, but they were pretty good. So you got to give them the credit. And they have brought in some I believe some people that can help them. I just don't think it's to the level that they think they can be helped. A free agent is never going to be what you think the free agent is going to be. But I like the fact that they brought in a superstar cornerback to put in that secondary. That's a major change for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, but I think with Stephon Gilmore, you're gonna find out you don't necessarily get the Stephon Gilmore every single game. He's gonna take some days. He's gonna take some games off. So that's why I think it's a good move, but I can't sit here and say it's gonna get him over the top. Now, Michael Parsons being the man that he freaking is, yeah. If Michael Parsons continues to progress and continue to be just dominant and disruptive like he's been, Dallas Cowboys will always be in a football game. That's the beauty of having a special defensive player. Now, you have Diggs on the other side with Stephon Gilmore. But one thing that I've noticed is you don't really have a lot of depth. I do like what Dallas has at safety, but you don't really have a lot of depth in the secondary. So what I mean by that is when receivers go to 4 and 5 receiver sets, it may cause a problem. But you're so used to playing in the NFC. The NFC, they always have a tight end. Some teams don't have tight ends. Well, they have tight ends, but they don't use them that much. That may pose a problem in spreading the Dallas Cowboys out this year. Notice on the Dallas Cowboys, I'm spending a little time. Most of the time that I'm talking about the defense. The tackle that they brought in this year from the draft, that's going to help them. Hopefully he'll pan out, because you had a serious problem stopping the run up the middle. Serious. I mean, it's just a shame that Michael Parsons is so good that teams would not just attack that. But if you do it this year, they're going to attack it. They're going to attack it. They're going to run it right up your throat. So hopefully Dallas did get the tackle part. The linebackers are suspect, and we'll see. let's see if Stephon Gilmore makes the secondary better, because that was the weakest link of the Dallas Cowboys defense last year. But this year, I think the weakest link is going to be the linebackers. But we'll see. But their defense is solid. You can't take anything away from them. When you go to the offensive side of the Dallas Cowboys, that's really where the problems lie. Because, and just correct me if I'm wrong, you can go back and watch video on this. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, against the schedule that they had, sometimes were disappointing on offense. Even in games that they won, they were disappointing on offense. Now, to the Dallas fans, a win is a win. But when you're losing and your offense is average or subpar, you're not going past the divisionals in the playoffs. Your defense would not get you to the Super Bowl. And what I mean by that, I'm going to bring up just a few games that I can kind of see it unfolding. I can kind of see it just was right there in my face. I mean, one of the games was the Tennessee game. The Tennessee game when the Tennessee Titans had nothing. The majority of their starters were sitting down doing nothing. Like, they missed the whole game. It shouldn't have even been close, but the Dallas Cowboys defense couldn't move the ball on the Tennessee Titans defense. I mean, Dallas Cowboys offense couldn't move the ball on the Tennessee Titans defense. And the Tennessee Titans defense is not good at all. Now, maybe you can say they outplayed them, whatever it may be. Now, Dallas won this game, but they struggled to win that game. They lost against Jacksonville. The offense did it to them again. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Well, the Commanders, their offense did it to them again. So having a good defense means that you have an offense that complements that good defense to make that defense elite. And Dallas' defense is really, really close to being elite. But because of their offense and sometimes being put in bad situations, they can't show you that. The problem with the Dallas Cowboys is starting at the quarterback, the offensive line, and that's the biggest core. Can the offensive line get back to form? Because if you can't, Dak Prescott is quite nervous in their pocket, which means he throws a lot of interceptions. I mean, if you're going to depend on Mike McCarthy calling the plays and Dak Prescott driving you up and down the field, you're in trouble. If you're going to depend on your running game, that'll get you through a lot of games. Your running game will. But it won't get you to the Super Bowl. Which brings me to my next team and why I believe that this next team is just not only the best in the East. I believe this team is the best in the NFC East. And that's the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost some coaches. But they didn't lose their scheme. And some of their scheme needed to be changed anyway, because that rotation that they do, man, Kansas City destroyed them in the Super Bowl. So hopefully they get that fixed, because that rotation was red and destroyed them. But you're going to see that I don't have very much negative to say about the Philadelphia Eagles. They actually had they had a problem with stopping the run up the middle in the beginning of the season. They brought in Hargrave. Hargrave came in and did his thing for what it was worth. I'm not a fan of Hargrave, but he did his thing for what it was worth. Now they bring in the monster, Carter. You know, they said Carter on his pro work day was horrible. It happens. He had gained weight. He was out of shape. He was under a lot of stress too, because at that time you had a pending investigation on you for someone losing their life. It's kind of stressful. I can understand why he had a bad pro day if that's on your mind. I can understand why he's gaining weight. He's a young kid trying to figure it out. But now, they done brought him in their locker room with the Jason Kelce's and all those experienced players that's been there. And that whole culture of their locker room, and their locker room is very loose, very family-like, very, very, very we as one foundation in their locker room. It's contagious. And now all he has to worry about is the monster being on that, the monster he can be on that field. So you're forced, because he don't just stop the run, he get after the quarterback. So Philadelphia got better in that position. I truly believe that. I said that the doggone Detroit Lions should draft him, but they didn't do it. They went offense. It was just the night of the draft when they announced his name for the Philadelphia Eagles. I immediately said they might repeat. Unless this kid is just a total bust, the Philadelphia Eagles got stronger up front. Let's not forget they led the league in freaking sacks last year. They were coming after you. You can't really get they secondary was no joke either. I mean, these guys are good. The defensive side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball, they good. Now, there's been a debate going on back and forth with me and some people about Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is gonna shut a lot of people up this year. I think he's gonna silence his critics. Y'all don't understand. It's not just how good he is on the field; it's his maturity off the field as well. If you watch him and look at him, you can see he's became the leader of the Philadelphia Eagles. That means when you're the leader and you believe you don't play like that. I don't think they give any thought to anybody else in their division because they believe they're that good, and they are. Now, they changed some rules that may affect they favorite play, that pass option, pass run option. I mean, they love doing it, and they changed some rules that may affect them, but I believe they'll address that rule and make the adjustment that they need to make. But they taking RPOs to a whole nother level. I mean, when you can literally play a game and say, I'm just not going to block Micah Parsons. I'm going to make him read. I'm going to make him decide where he wants to go, and then I'm going to go the opposite way. Watching him that night showed me he was still a young player because he couldn't figure it out. And the only reason it didn't work in the second game was probably because Jalen Hurts wasn't there. So their offense is fluent. They work as one. And let's just put this down right now. The Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, if not the best. See, the reason why I can't say they're the best is because Kansas City offensive line is so good. But I'm going to say that the Philadelphia Eagles have the best offensive line in the NFC. Watching them is so freaking fun. Now, it's not very many teams when I watch their game, I'm watching their offensive line, but I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line just open up gaping holes, protecting their quarterbacks, picking their quarterback to the tee. No matter who back there, they protect them. You're going to earn every freaking sack. You're going to earn every freaking tackle when they're running the ball. You're going to earn everything with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, to me, are so freaking dangerous. They just dangerous. They're dangerous for the whole NFL because they're at that point. They're there. So I hear all you Dallas fans and talking the noise about the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm telling you, and I'm saying this right here on my podcast, they're not even close to the Philadelphia Eagles. You think because you beat them in Dallas, you're close to them. You're not. For just a reminder, it was 3rd and 30, and the Cowboys picked up a first down. If they don't pick that first down up, Philadelphia win their game going away. Now, I can hear what you're saying already, but we did pick it up. That's correct. But you had to struggle to beat them without Jalen Hurts. Now, I give you credit in their first game. You were down by 20-some points. You came back and made it a freaking football game. But then at the end, they just pulled away from you, just like championship teams do. So let's hope this year, the first time the Cowboys and the second time the Cowboys and Eagles meet, that every quarterback will be healthy so we can get them excuses out the way. I'm just telling y'all right now, hear me when I say this. As I end this segment of my NFL training camp series with the NFC East, I'm just going to say this. Say what you want on social media. The Philadelphia Eagles are still the team to beat in the East. And until somebody beat them, they will be the team to beat in the East. With all that being said, I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done. I don't understand what's going on. Why are all these people out there shooting each other? I don't understand that. And I can't do anything about it, but let me tell you, it truly hurts my heart to see all these people, I don't care black or white, out there shooting each other, especially black. What you doing? Why is a 14-year-old with a gun? A teenager with a gun? They're already going through puberty, and then you gonna put a gun? They don't have no control over their emotions. Where are the parents? Stop making excuses to the parents, start stepping up. Because until then, it's just gonna keep happening. That's all I got to say about that. Look, thank y'all for joining the show. This is Richard Cole with Let's Talk Sports. Peace. I'm out.